Hi, good morning. Today also we are continuing the section Fredholm theory of compact operators. We have discussed one lemma and corollaries and proposition 5.2.5. Now we are discussing the corollary 5.2.6. Consider a compact operator T and its dual operator T star. By we have a result, if A is a compact operator, then A star is also compact. Okay. Now we are assuming let delta lambda conjugate star is equal to image of uh, T star lambda conjugate or T lambda conjugate star. And which is a subspace of X star. Then also delta lambda conjugate star is equal to delta lambda conjugate star whole conjugate for any lambda not equal to 0. Okay, you must note this notation delta lambda conjugate star. What is delta lambda conjugate star? This is equal to image of T star lambda conjugate. And this is equal to image of what is T star lambda conjugate. This is T star minus lambda conjugate I. We have T lambda is equal to T minus lambda I. T star lambda conjugate means T star lambda conjugate means T star minus lambda conjugate I. So we are denoting image of this operator T star minus lambda conjugate I as delta star lambda conjugate or delta lambda conjugate star anything. Okay. So here we have to prove this is equal to its closure. That means we have to prove this delta star lambda conjugate is a closed subspace for any lambda not equal to 0. What is meant by our conjugate operator? Just recall, if let A from X to Y be a bounded operator and phi belongs to Y star, then A star is a map from Y star to X star. A is a map from X to Y. A star is a map from Y star to X star defined by A star phi of X is equal to phi of AX. Phi of AX is equal to A star phi of X. This was the definition of A star. And we have a result A from X to Y is compact implies A star from Y star to X star is compact. So here by proposition 5.25, let T be a compact operator and lambda not equal to 0, then delta lambda is a closed subspace. Now what is delta lambda? Delta lambda is image of T minus lambda I. This is the our delta lambda. So if you apply this result for T star, as T star is compact, we have image of T star minus, if you take a lambda conjugate for lambda, then lambda conjugate I is also a closed subspace. But image of T star minus lambda I is delta lambda star. Therefore, this is a closed subspace. That means delta lambda star is equal to delta lambda conjugate star. Delta lambda conjugate star closure. Okay. And delta lambda conjugate star is equal to this one. This implies we have to prove this. But we have by this result delta star lambda conjugate is closed. So in this result we are just applying. In this result we are just applying our proposition 5.2.5. Clear? You have to remember this definition. We are assuming delta lambda conjugate star as image of T star lambda conjugate. Okay, keep that in your mind. Okay, image of T star lambda conjugate as delta lambda conjugate star. And clearly this is a subspace of X star. This is a subspace of X star. So what about elements in this? Elements in this are linear functionals. Okay. Now moving to next result. Proposition 5.2.7. Delta lambda equal to X implies kernel T lambda equal to 0. Or equivalently, kernel T lambda not equal to 0 implies delta lambda not equal to X. Or similarly, delta star lambda conjugate equal to X star implies kernel T lambda conjugate T star lambda conjugate is equal to 0. This result is just from our previous corollary. We have delta. In the case of T star, we have delta star. This is a closed subspace. And once we prove this one, delta lambda equal to X implies kernel T lambda equal to 0. Then if you apply the same result for X star and delta star, we get delta star lambda conjugate equal to X implies what is delta lambda? Delta lambda is image of T minus lambda I. So delta, this is image of T lambda. That is here image of T star minus lambda conjugate I, and this is same as image of T star lambda conjugate. Okay, so image of T star lambda conjugate equal to X implies kernel T lambda. Here kernel T lambda equal to 0. From here image of T star lambda conjugate equal to X implies kernel T star lambda conjugate is equal to 0. So once we prove this, then it is easy to prove. Okay. So how we prove this one? What is the meaning of this one? Delta lambda. What is delta lambda? Delta lambda is image of T lambda. That means image of T minus lambda. So we have to prove image of T minus lambda is equal to X implies kernel T lambda equal to 0. That means kernel of T minus lambda equal to 0. Now what is the meaning of that? T minus lambda I is an operator from X to X. Okay. So image of T minus lambda I is equal to X means if this map is on to, then kernel of T minus lambda equal to 0. That means this map is 1 to 1. Okay. So T minus lambda I is on to implies T minus lambda I is 1. That's what we are going to prove here. Okay. So delta lambda equal to X implies kernel T lambda equal to 0. So we are assuming the contradiction. Suppose kernel T lambda not equal to 0. That is kernel of T minus lambda I not equal to 0. What is the meaning of that? This kernel, what is kernel actually? kernel t minus lambda I is, kernel t lambda is, t minus lambda is set of 4x such that t lambda of x equal to 0. This is our t lambda. Sorry, kernel t lambda. So kernel t lambda not equal to 0 means there exists some x not equal to 0. Okay, such that t lambda of x equal to 0. So there exists a x naught belongs to kernel t minus lambda I or kernel t lambda such that x naught not equal to 0. There exists a x naught belongs to kernel t lambda such that x naught not equal to 0. Now x naught belongs to kernel t lambda implies t lambda of x naught must be equal to 0. Now what is our delta lambda? Delta lambda is image of t lambda. But we have assumed image of t lambda equal to x. And x naught belongs to capital X. So for this x, this is image of t lambda, and x naught belongs to image of t lambda means, or x naught belongs to image of t lambda means x naught belongs to range of t lambda. There exists a x1 in x such that t lambda x1 is equal to x naught. Clear? X naught belongs to x, image of t lambda is x, image of some x belongs to image of some function f means there exists some y such that, or some y belongs to, there exists some x such that f of x equal to y. We are applying same result here. So there exists x1 such that t lambda x1 equal to x0. Clear? Now if you note x1 is again in x and which is equal to image of t lambda. That means there exists an x2 belongs to x such that t lambda of x2 equal to x1. This proceeding like this, for every k there exists a xk such that t lambda of xk equal to xk minus 1, k equal to 1 to etc. Okay. T lambda of xk equal to xk minus 1, k equal to 1 to etc. Now for each xk we have t lambda raised to k xk equal to x naught not equal to 0. Just look at one particular case. Suppose consider t lambda 3 of k equal to 3. T lambda 3 of x3. That means t lambda square t lambda of x3. Now t lambda of x3 is x2. Therefore t lambda square of x2. And this is t lambda of x2. T lambda of x2 is x1. Therefore t lambda of x1 is equal to x0. So t lambda 3 of x3 equal to x0. So if you proceed like this, t lambda of x4 of x4 equal to x0. In general, t lambda raised to k of xk equal to x0. But we have assumed xk not x0 not equal to 0. Now t lambda, what about t lambda of raised to 4 of x3? T lambda raised 3 of x3 and this is equal to t lambda of x0 and which is equal to 0 because x0 is in kernel t lambda of x0 equal to 0. Okay. So here we have for each xk we have t lambda raised to k of xk equal to x0 not equal to 0 and t lambda k raised k plus 1 of xk equal to 0. Clear? Therefore, if we let nk equal to set of all x such that t lambda raised to kx equal to 0 and which is equal to kernel of t lambda raised to k and nk plus 1 is equal to set of all x such that t lambda raised to k plus 1 x equal to 0, then what we get? If some x belongs to nk, suppose x belongs to nk, then t lambda raised to k of x equal to 0. Again, you apply t raised to k plus 1 k lambda x means t raised to k plus 1 x. Okay, and t raised, sorry, here we have apply t lambda, and this is equal to t lambda raised to k plus 1. Okay, and now here you can write t lambda raised to k plus 1 of x implies t lambda, sorry, t lambda of t lambda raised to k of x, which is equal to t0, t lambda 0. Okay, t lambda 0, and this implies x belongs to n k plus 1. T lambda raised to k plus 1 of x is equal to 0. That means x belongs to nk plus 1. Therefore, if x belongs to nk, then x belongs to nk plus 1. Therefore, nk is a subset of nk plus 1. What is nk? Nk is kernel of t lambda raised to k. Nk plus 1 is kernel of t lambda raised to k plus 1. And we have a result. If A is a bounded operator, then kernel A is a closed subspace. Therefore, here also nk is a kernel of a bounded operator. Okay. Therefore, this is a closed subspace. So, we have by using applying lemma 5.2.1, if E1 is a closed subspace of E, then there exists a y0 belongs to E such that norm of y0 equal to 1 and the distance between y0 and E1 greater than or equal to 1 by 2. That is our lemma 5.2.1. Okay. So there exists a for y0. I am denoting yk plus 1 as for E1 we have nk plus 1 and for E we have nk. So there exists a yk plus 1 contained in element in nk plus 1 such that norm of yk plus 1 equal to 1 and distance between yk plus 1 and nk greater than or equal to 1 by 2. Okay. So if k greater than n, that is k greater than or equal to n plus 1 or k minus 1 greater than or equal to n, we have n k minus 1 is containing nn. That is nn is contained in nk minus 1 for every n k greater than or equal to k minus 1 greater than or equal to n. So kernel of t lambda raised to n is contained in kernel of t lambda raised to k minus 1 for every k minus 1 greater than or equal to n. Okay. Now if you consider set equal to, just note this, to remember this, z equal to yn plus t lambda yk by lambda minus t lambda yn by lambda. Why we are choosing this set, that we will see later. We are choosing z is equal to yn plus t lambda yk by lambda minus t lambda yn by lambda. Now what is t lambda k minus 1 z? T lambda k minus 1 yn applied linearity property. T lambda k yk by lambda minus t lambda k yn by lambda. And t lambda raised to k minus 1 yn plus this is apply linearity 1 by lambda t lambda k yk minus 1 by lambda t lambda k yn. Now yn, where is yn? Yn belongs to nn. Okay, and nn is a subspace of nk minus 1. So yn belongs to nn. That implies t lambda raised to n yn is equal to 0. Okay, and nn is a subset of nk minus 1 implies t lambda raised to k minus 1 yn is also equal to 0 because t raised to n and yn is also equal to 0. Therefore, t lambda raised to k minus 1 yn is also equal to 0 because yn belongs to n k minus 1. So t lambda raised to k of now what about t lambda raised to k of yk? Yk belongs to nk. So t lambda raised to k of yk equal to 0. Now yn belongs to nn. Subset of nk minus 1 implies t lambda raised to k minus 1 yn is equal to 0. Also t lambda raised to k yn is also equal to 0. So what we get? This term 0, this term 0, this term 0. All these terms. That means t lambda raised to k minus 1 z is equal to 0. That means z belongs to n k minus 1. Z belongs to n k minus 1. So now we are rearranging some terms. Consider norm of tyk minus tyn. What we are going to prove? We have assumed kernel t lambda not equal to 0 and we have to arrive at a contradiction. For this, actually we are going to prove this is a contradiction to compactness of t. For proving this, we are going to prove there does not exist a Cauchy subsequence for tyn. Okay. So norm of tyk minus tyn is equal to t lambda yk plus how we can write this. We have what is t lambda? T lambda is t minus lambda I. So t lambda yk is actually t minus lambda I yk. That is t yk minus lambda I yk is yk. So t yk you can write as t lambda yk plus lambda yk. So tyk we can write as t lambda yk plus lambda yk minus tyn you can write as t lambda yn plus lambda yn. And from here, okay, now you take mod lambda outside. Mod yk, mod lambda, finally we get this become, we are taking lambda outside. When lambda become outside norm, that must be mod. Mod yk, then minus here what we have, here we have one yn, so yn, and here remaining is plus t lambda yk by lambda. So this minus minus plus t lambda yk by lambda, and we have minus t lambda yn by lambda. So minus plus t lambda yn by lambda. So here mod lambda into norm of yk minus yn minus t lambda yk by lambda plus t lambda yn by lambda. Now, what about this element? Where is yn? Yn is in nn and that is in nk minus 1. Where is yk by lambda? Yk by lambda? Yk is in nk and that is contained in nk minus 1. Also here also this term also contained in nk minus 1. Therefore, this is always an element in nk minus 1. Therefore, mod lambda into distance between, this is actually norm of yk minus an element in nk minus 1. Therefore, mod lambda into distance between yk and nk minus 1. Okay. So, if you look at this one, this is yn minus t lambda yk by lambda plus t lambda yn by lambda. Some error happens here. T lambda, I think this is set, okay. Yn plus t lambda yk by lambda minus t lambda yn by lambda, okay. Minus okay, and this is yn plus or yn some minus sign we mean. If you take yn plus yn minus and here plus yn minus t lambda plus. So this is actually norm of norm mod lambda into norm of yk minus this is z. Okay, and what is this z? Z belongs to n k minus 1. Therefore, norm of yk minus an element in nk minus 1. Therefore, mod lambda into distance between yk and nk minus 1. And this is greater than or equal to 1 by 2. Therefore, modulus of t yk minus t yn is greater than or equal to mod lambda by 2. But we know that norm of yn equal to 1. Therefore, yn is a bounded sequence, and tyn cannot have a, from this we have tyn cannot have a Cauchy subsequence. That is a contradiction to the compactness of t. That means kernel t lambda must be equal to 0. Or equivalently we have kernel t lambda not equal to 0 implies delta lambda not equal to x. Now the next part we clearly follows from the compactness of T star. Okay.